Hi guys, good morning. So in this class, I am going to continue the same lipid chapter. So in previous class, we have seen some basic introduction. So such as what is lipids, what is triglycerides, why it's considered as a fuel reserve. So what are the basic criteria? Because it's having a high energy yielding compounds, and it's able to store in anhydrous form. These are the two basic properties is make a triglycerides one of the good fuel reserve compounds. So the next one is important body lipids. What are the body lipids are available? Example: phospholipids, glycolipids, cholesterol. Then it's act as a source material, because the cholesterol is may converted into the steroid hormone. So such like that, each and every compound is having own unique role. So the next we have seen transport of lipids. So once the lipids is stored in some place, either in adipose tissue or liver, how it's going to transport into muscle, how it's going to transport in various places, because it's an anhydrous form, it can't able to travel in free form, so it must be complex with some kind of protein. So it's called as lipoproteins. Once the lipid is combined with the protein, it's called as lipoprotein. It's different types of lipoprotein we have seen: LDL, VLDL, and HDL. And free fatty acids, mostly the long chain free fatty acids also, it's not available in free form, it's always is combined with albumin. So the normal reference value we have seen. Then dynamic state of body lipids, then how the lipids are, it's transported from various places, where it is going to store, the dynamic role of lipids we have seen. So the next one is mobilization of fat from adipose tissue. So we know that the lipids are stored in adipose tissue. So when our body needs energy without glucose, means that time the lipids undergoing the catabolic reactions. Lipid is undergoing the catabolism reaction. It's called as lipolysis process. So those time the fatty acids, one by one the fatty acid is going to remove. So the remaining residual product is glycerol. So two product is we are getting, one is glycerol, another one is fatty acids. So this lipolysis process is controlled by hormones. We have seen most of the hormones, example epinephrine, noradrenaline, and ACTH, glucocorticoids. These are the hormones is going to promote the lipolysis process. So in parallelly, the insulin, it's directly is going to inhibit the lipolysis process, and also indirect manner also through phosphodiesterase enzyme mechanism. Through that mechanism also is going to inhibit the lipolysis process. So next one is regulation. How it's going to regulate by so I said earlier, the lipolysis process is controlled by hormones. So at the end of lipolysis process, two products we can get, one is fatty acids, another one is glycerol. So the fatty acid is undergoing the fatty acid oxidation process to produce energy. So the glycerol is another one product, it's also it's having some unique role. So normally the glycerol is undergoing the conversion phosphorylation process, it's converted into the glycerol 3 phosphate, later it's converted into the either it's entered into the TG synthesis, otherwise glycolysis cycles. So fatty acids, we know that the fatty acids are undergoing the fatty acid oxidation process. Through that mechanism we can get energy. So this is entire process from the triglycerides is undergoing the lipolysis, it's produce the fatty acids and glycerol. Glycerol is enter into the recycle, it's once again is involved in the triglyceride biosynthesis process. Fatty acids also, mostly 65% of fatty acids once again is enter into the triglyceride synthesis. Apart from that, once we need energy, means that time this fatty acids is undergoing the oxidation process, it's involved for produce the energy. So next we can go for fatty acid oxidations. Yeah, so till now we know that triglycerides is going to break down, that means catabolism is going to happen, it's the process called as lipolysis. So in that lipolysis process, two product is going to form, three molecules of fatty acids and one molecule of glycerol and three molecule of water. So this fatty acids, it's responsible for produce the energy. So this fatty acid is must be undergone the oxidation process. So the fatty acid is undergone for three different types of oxidation process. One is alpha, beta, and omega oxidation process. The oxidation process is termed or named by based upon the which carbon atom is going to act. If it is the oxidation process is going to act on alpha means it's alpha oxidation. Beta means beta oxidation. In omega carbon means it's a omega oxidation. So in out of three, the beta oxidation is one of the very important and mostly energy is produced by beta oxidation. In alpha oxidation is very less or no chances possible. Omega oxidation is totally different. So out of three, the beta oxidation of fatty acid is very important because most of the fatty acid is undergone this process. Okay, so first we can go for alpha oxidation process. So as I said earlier, the beta oxidation is the most predominant pathway for fatty acid degradation, because from that pathway only we can get the energy. But in alpha oxidation, this is a parallel process. It's a removal of one carbon unit at a time by oxidation of alpha carbon. So if you have seen in a triglyceride fatty acid structure, we can divide its alpha carbon and beta carbon. In next slide you can see exactly the structure. So this alpha oxidation is going to target for the alpha carbon. So that's the thing. Unfortunately, in this process, it's never going to bind with coenzyme and no energy is also produced. So this oxidation process is somewhat useless because it's not produce any energy. But fatty oxidation processes must mandatory. We need energy. But in this case, alpha oxidation, it doesn't produce any energy. So another one disease is there. In this disease, due to some genetic reasons, the fatty acids it's can't able to metabolize. So it's lead to severe central nervous system disorder. So this disease is called as Refusum disease. So it's a rare but severe neurological disorder characterized by cerebral ataxia and peripheral neuropathy. Cerebral ataxia means the patient can't able to hold anything else. Ataxia means jerky movements, and peripheral neuropathy means inflammation on neurons. So what is the reason for this means? In this case, unusual accumulation of large quantity of the fatty acid. The fatty acid is phytanic acid. So this phytanic acid is going to accumulate in the body. It's lead to these complications. So what is the reason behind that means? This phytanic acid is derived from the phytol. So phytol means we know that it is a plant product. So it's a constituent of chlorophyll in plant foods and some of the milk and animal substance also, sources also. So this phytanic acid, the plant oriented fatty acid, it can't undergo the beta oxidations. So it first undergone the alpha oxidation, then it's going for beta oxidation process. That's a sequence. But in this case, due to the genetic disorder, the patient doesn't having the enzyme. That enzyme which is responsible for metabolism of phytanic acid. The enzyme is phytanic acid alpha oxidase enzyme. So that enzyme is not available. So this phytanic acid can't able to metabolize. So it's lead to accumulation. If it is accumulation means it's produced some kind of neurological disorder. So the treatment wise, we can't able to treat the genetic disorder. So mostly the patients is advised to should not consume diet containing chlorophylls, particularly green leaf vegetables. So that's a choice. So this is alpha oxidation and alpha oxidation related disorders. So next we can go for beta oxidation. So beta oxidation is a predominant fatty acid oxidation process. You can see here the fatty acid is so in fatty acid in our body, the fatty acids mostly it's oxidized by beta oxidation process. So why it's termed as beta oxidation means the oxidation process is going to carry out on beta carbon atom. The net result, sequential removal of 2 carbon atom by in acetyl-CoA format. So that's a reason it's going to target the beta carbon. So each cycle is going to remove 2 carbon molecule in the form of acetyl-CoA. So the fatty acid oxidation, beta oxidation, it's having 3 steps. First one is activation of fatty acid. This process is going to happen in cytosol. We know that in a cell it's having a cytosol, mitochondria, nucleus, all those things. So this step, the activation of fatty acid, it's happening on cytosolic region. The second one is from the cytosolic region, the activated fatty acid, that means acylated fatty acid, it must enter into the mitochondria. That process is called as transport of fatty acids. So without activation, the fatty acids can't able to cross the mitochondria. So for those process, first it must be activated, then it's going to transport. The third one is exact beta oxidation process. So it consists of 3 phases. First one is activation, second one is transportation, third one is oxidation. So first step, activation of fatty acids. So you can see the structure. This is a fatty acid. This is a fatty acid. So what's happened? It's converted into the acylated form. That's all. So the acylated, it's fatty acid. It's converted into the acyl adenate. That is the first step with the help of thiokinase enzyme. With the involvement of ATP, that means a phosphorylation is going to happen. So the fatty acid is converted into the acyl adenylate. Then coenzyme is going to involve the function. So the coenzyme is going to donate the acetyl group. So it's converted into the acyl CoA. So text wise you can see here, the thiokinase, otherwise acyl CoA synthase enzyme, it's responsible for this activation. So this is a 2-step reactions. It's require ATP and coenzyme and ions, magnesium ions. Okay. So the fatty acids react with ATP. It's converted into the acyl adenate. That is first step. So in second step, it's combined with coenzyme. It's produce the acyl CoA. Okay. So the activation itself is carried out 2 steps. First one is phosphorylation. It's converted into the acyl adenate. The second one is coenzyme attachment. It's converted into the acyl CoA. Now the substance is ready to transport. So for this entire reaction, ATP is converted into the pyrophosphate. That means ATP is going to donate the phosphate group. So the enzyme inorganic phosphatase is hydrolyze the pyrophosphate to phosphate. That is the additional reaction. So the thiokinase reaction is the oxidation of fatty acid. So only 1-step reaction. So it's require energy. That's the reason it is a irreversible step. This entire step you can see here, that is a irreversible step. So you no need to confuse all those things. It's a 2-step reaction. First the fatty acid is combined with thiokinase enzyme. It's converted into the acyl adenylate. That's the first step. Next it's combined with coenzyme. It's going to form a acyl CoA. Now the substance is ready for transport. So the second process is transport of fatty acid into mitochondria. The activation is happen in cytosol. Okay. So the second step is in mitochondria. So it must be transport. So inner mitochondrial membrane, it's impermeable to fatty acids. That's a reason. After activation also, our fatty acid as a acyl CoA, it can't able to transport the mitochondria because the mitochondrial membrane is very strong. It can't able to permeate. Otherwise, the fatty acid is not able to permeate into mitochondria. So it's how it's going to bypass the mechanism means it's the process, the entire process, the transport process is done by some unique system, the specialized carrier system. It's called as carnitine carrier system. It's act as a transporting mechanism. So it's occur in 4 steps. I think you hope see the picture means you can easily understand. No need to confuse about the text. So you can see here, this is a transport mechanism. So the acyl CoA is formed in previous step in cytosolic region. So in cytosol region, so this is inner mitochondrial membrane. This is mitochondrial matrix, 3 region. This is inside the mitochondria. This is mitochondrial membrane. This is cytosolic region. So in cytosolic region, we know that the first activation step, the fatty acid is converted into the acyl CoA. So in this step, the acyl CoA, the specialized transport system, the acyl CoA is going to combine with carnitine. It's going to form a acyl carnitine. So this reaction is catalyzed by carnitine palmitoyl transferase enzyme. Because the carnitine is going to transfer. So the transferase enzyme is responsible for this reaction. Acetyl CoA and carnitine is going to form together. It's going to form a acyl carnitine. The remaining coenzyme is going to remaining as a byproduct. So once this acyl carnitine is formed, it's ready to transport inside the mitochondrial membrane. So the acyl carnitine is easily permeable the mitochondrial membrane, so it's enter into the mitochondria. So inside the matrix, it's going to the next step. So after acyl carnitine, it's enter into the mitochondrial enzyme. So here another one transferase enzyme is going to the action. So the enzyme name is carnityl palmitoyl transferase 2. This one is transferase 1, this one is transferase 2. So in this process, the carnitine molecule is removed. It's going to form a acyl CoA. So nothing but the same acyl CoA is going to the net result, but it can't able to enter the mitochondrial membrane, so it's going for bypass mechanism. So first the carnitine is going to form complex with the help of transferase enzyme 1, then it's cross the membrane. So inside the membrane, the carnitine is removed, so it's once again is going to form a acyl CoA. So the net result, acyl CoA is enter into the mitochondria. This is transport mechanism. Yeah, so this transport process is responsible for the carry out by the important things. One is carnitine and carnitine transferase enzyme, palmitoyl transferase enzyme, and coenzyme. So these are the substances very essential to transport of acyl CoA from cytosolic region to mitochondrial regions. So in some of the substance, example malonyl CoA, these are the substances going to inhibit this process. I hope you know that what is malonyl CoA, where it is going to synthesize. We just recall the TCA cycle. In TCA cycle, the malonyl CoA is one of the byproduct. So the malonyl CoA is present means it indicate our body is having sufficient amount of energy. So that's the reason the malonyl CoA, it's a substance, it's responsible to inhibit the transport mechanism, because once its transport is inhibited means the fatty acid mediated energy production is going to stop. So it's everything is interlinked. Okay, that's a concept. So third process, beta oxidation process. This is exact oxidation process. So the beta oxidation process, it's going to happen in mitochondria. So it's a sequence of 4-step reactions. So we can see one by one. The first one is oxidation. So you can see here, this is acyl CoA. Acyl CoA, it's having a 2 carbon important one, alpha carbon and beta carbon. With the help of acyl CoA dehydrogenase enzyme, it's going to remove the hydrogen ions. You can see here, this hydrogen ions has been removed. So FADH is going to gain the hydrogen ion with the help of acyl CoA dehydrogenase enzyme. So this acyl CoA is oxidized, that means removal of hydrogen ions. So it's converted into the trans-enol CoA. That is first step. So in acyl CoA, hydrogen atoms has been removed. Oxidation is going to happen, so it's going to remove the hydrogen ions is taken by FAD. Okay, that is first step. The next step is reduction, hydration. So in that process, what's happened exactly? It's once again the water molecule is going to attach, donate the hydrogen ions. It's once again is going to hydrate it. The enol CoA, trans-enol CoA is going to hydrated form. So this reaction is catalyzed by enol CoA hydrase enzyme. So what's you can see this structure. This is enol trans-enol CoA. So after addition of water molecule, this hydroxyl groups is going to attach together this place beta carbon atoms. Another one hydrogen ions is going to attach with alpha carbon atom. So one hydrogen is attached in alpha carbon atom, and then hydroxyl group is going to attach with beta carbon atom. So the substance is called as beta hydroxyacyl CoA. This is second step. The first one is oxidation. removal of hydrogen ions. The second one is hydration, addition of water molecule. It's going to donate the hydrogen ions and the hydroxyl ions. So the substance acyl-CoA is converted into the beta hydroxy acyl. The third one is once again is going to oxidize. We must remove the hydrogen ions. So in this process, the beta hydroxy acyl-CoA dehydrogenase enzyme responsible for the conversion. You can see the structure. So this hydrogen ions, one hydrogen ion and beta hydrogen ions. These two hydrogen ions has been removed. So the in beta carbon, two hydrogen ions has been removed. One is in hydroxyl form, another one is in attached with carbon atom. So these two hydrogen ions has been removed. It's going to attach with NAD. So the NAD is become NADH and it's going to produce free hydrogen ions also. So it's become the beta hydroxy acyl-CoA. It's become beta keto acyl-CoA. So the third one is oxidation. After that, the beta hydroxy acyl-CoA is converted into the beta keto acyl-CoA. Nothing but it is going to removal of hydrogen ions. The fourth one is cleavage. So now you can see here the two acetyl group is there. So in third step, the thiolase enzyme responsible for the cleavage. So in final reaction, the beta oxidation is liberate the two carbon fragment in the acetyl-CoA format. So the beta acetyl-CoA is going to cleave in this place. So two carbon atom. So coenzyme also is going to involve. So the two carbon atom is going to attach with coenzyme. So it's become a acetyl-CoA. This is overall reactions. So first one is oxidation, removal of hydrogen ions. The second one is hydration, adding of water molecule in the beta carbon. In third step, once again it's going to oxidize. Beta carbon atom hydrogen ions has been removed with the help of NAD. So the last step is going to cleavage. So this is the 4 steps. It's involved for the beta oxidation process. So out of overall beta oxidation, first one is activation, the second one is transport, the third one is exact beta oxidation process. So yeah, in overall reaction you can see here, this is a fatty acid acyl-CoA. So involvement of FAD, the first process oxidation process, and the second hydration process water molecule, and third NAD molecule is going to involve. So and coenzyme also involved for the reaction. So this is a entire reaction. So the result, the removal of two acyl-CoA, it's the remaining acyl-CoAs are there, free acyl-CoA, and the remaining acyl-CoAs are there. So free acetyl-CoA is going to form, and FAD is become FADH2, and NADH also is going to NADH. Then it's going to produce free hydrogen ions also. So this is overall a reaction. So this cycle, once the free fatty acid is lose the two acetyl-CoA means this free fatty acids once again is enter into the same pathway. So it's become a cycle. So how much is possible? Up to removal of all the carbon atoms is enter into the cycle process. So it's continuously is going to remove the acetyl-CoA. So that's all. So now we have cleared the alpha oxidation and beta oxidation. So the remaining one is omega oxidation. So the omega oxidation means we know that the oxidation process happening if it is alpha carbon means it's alpha oxidation, beta carbon means beta oxidation. But in omega oxidation, it's somewhat different because the oxidation is going to happen in different place. The parallel side of the co-carbon atom. It's involved the hydroxylations offered by the oxidation process by co-carbon atom present as a methyl group. This is a co-carbon atom. So the oxidation is going to happen on this co-carbon atom. So in this reaction, it's require cytochrome P450 enzyme and NADPH and oxygen molecule and besides some enzymes also. So this is omega oxidation. So mostly the omega oxidation also not a predominant one. So the most predominant oxidation pathway is beta oxidation process. Maybe if you have seen in various commercial oil ads, they said it's having a omega fatty acids. So the omega fatty acids nothing but they are proved, so many studies they are proved it is very good for health. So for that reason only they are include their promotions containing omega fatty acids. If it's containing omega fatty acid means it must undergoing this process. Okay, that's all. So the next important concept we must know that is oxidation of fatty acids and metabolic water. So in this process, the fatty acid oxidation process, it's produced water molecule. So that water molecule is considered as a metabolic water. Okay, so for example, for palmitic acid, one molecule of palmitic acid, if it is oxidized, means it's released 60 molecules of water. So the metabolic water is a great significance for some animals. I hope you know that thing, camel, it's having a big so what does that means? It's having a full of fatty substance. It's undergoing the fatty oxidation process. It's going to gain the water from the metabolic water. So it's a good source for water. So that's the reason it get the energy from beta oxidation process. It gain the water from the metabolic process. So that's the reason the camel, it can survive. It can able to survive without taking water in desert area. So the same manner, the kangaroo rat, it's capable to this mechanism because it's going to take high consumption. It's going to consume more amount of oil rich acids. So it's having more amount of fat. So it's going to utilize the fat for under this fatty oxidation process. Is going to generate its own metabolic water. That's the reason that rat also, kangaroo rat also, it can't able to no need to take a water. Without taking water also, it can able to survive for long period of time. So this metabolic water is one of the important things for survival of some animals. But in humans, the metabolic water is not one of the major source. So we must to take our dietary source, otherwise external water for regular process. So that's all. In next ketone bodies, I can wind up the session from in fatty acid oxidation itself. So in next class, I can explain the ketone bodies and the ketogenesis and ketolysis. So thank you.